way better role. Way better. Like, love it. I'm like,
Ready?
okay.
This is Haley.
And this is Bailey. You're listening to Unleashed.
I'm about to get so fired up.
Pet peeves, honestly, get you pretty fired up.
I have so many stupid pet peeves. It's like, at this point, people are going to be like, what doesn't bother you? I'm like, I have a lot of pet peeves, but they're stupid. So, I mean, just hold on.
It's funny because I feel like you don't always think about your pet peeves, but if you sit down, like we were having a conversation about pet peeves, and I was like, wow, like, one, it can be either hard to think about, but once you actually remember what your pet peeves are, they can add up pretty quickly.
Oh, I totally agree. And the thing is, too, with how they're like, because they're so little, I mean, when I was writing them all down, I was like already fired up just thinking about it. I was like, gosh dang it. I was like, that's another one. Like, stop that. Anyway, what would you say to start this off? What is like your first, okay, I don't know if it has to be your biggest pet peeve, but what would you say is like the one you like your brain instantly goes to when you think of pet peeves?
Okay, let me start off with a dog one to start, like, just to start it off. But dogs licking drives me bananas, and I wish it didn't. And I think it's really cute when, like, Hudson will come up and do like a little lick, or like it's something very like cute and like for a second, but the second it's like consistently, like they're constantly licking, that drives me crazy. And then I can't, once you hear something like that, I feel like you're just like focus on it. So, and it's like usually when he's itchy, so it's like I feel bad. I'm like, I shouldn't be like, this shouldn't be a
Yeah.
pet peeve, but it could literally
It's a
drive me
pet.
crazy. But
It's literally a pet peeve.
literally. And like the second he starts licking like more than like 5 seconds, I just like end up like rinsing him off. I'm like, you're itchy or something, and maybe this will help. And I feel like if a dog comes up and like licks me a lot, like that just is like, ugh.
Olive is a huge licker, so that's kind of unfortunate. But all I do is I tell people just blow in her nose, just go, and she'll stop. So yeah.
Does licking drive you crazy at all, or is it like it's fine?
I think it does if I have makeup on, because then it just pushes her spit in my makeup into my skin, and then I get acne, and then acne is really about, like, I hate it, and I've had some problems with it lately, and so I'm just like, okay, no. But like, I don't mind like little kisses on my nose or anything
Yeah,
like
like
that. I don't.
Kiss is so cute. Like when Hudson comes up and like he'll do like ask for something, he'll do a little lick. Like those kind of things, like a loving thing. It's more when they're like excessively like licking something, or they're like, I don't know, when it's just like a lot for a long time is more what really gets to me.
Olive will, anytime I get out of the shower, and I put lotion on, she'll come over and lick my leg. We call it leg candy, but I'm like having to hop up on the bed and like run away from her, and she thinks it's now a game. So I'm like,
that's a good one, because that's what my mom's dog does. And that one, I'm like, okay, like cute for like 30 seconds, and I'm good.
yes, seriously.
Okay, with my first pet peeve, what would you say your first pet peeve is?
I have a lot. I guess, okay, so my first one that comes to my mind, probably people who have like body odor. I hate, like, they don't have hygiene. Like, and okay, here's what's wrong. I was on an airplane, and all of a sudden the plane starts smelling so bad. I was like, what is that smell? And I first thought it was Olive, but it wasn't her type of smell. Like, I was like, even if she crapped herself, this still wouldn't be her. Like, and so I'm like, what? And then I realized it was the lady who had walked by, and she was sitting behind me, and I'm like, ew. Like, ew, no, like that. The airlines say you can't have dogs that have foul odors on the plane, or else they can be kicked off. Same should be for humans. If you smell bad, you should not be allowed on an airplane. I just think, I mean, that's in general.
No, totally. And you'd hope someone would tell you. Like sometimes, okay, or you would like, maybe you get used to yourself. I don't know. But like, I feel like hopefully somebody, like if I smelled, I would hope someone would be like, hey, like, you need deodorant. Like, I hope I never do. I'm pretty on it. But like, you'd hope somebody that you're close with would be like, hey, you need a little help there.
Absolutely. I know. And that's the thing. Like, I was always Bryce is always so worried about his like hygiene, and I'm like, I've never ever had, and I've never smelt you anything bad like that. Nope, you're good. Like, and so he's always super paranoid about that, which I'm grateful for because I would be the one having to suffer that, and so I'm like,
As
no,
I'm living
but
in like an RV and actually dying right now, it's so hot. I'm like
yeah.
I'm putting deodorant on every like hour.
Like it's so hot. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely. I think hygiene is just a huge thing, but I feel like that should be
Yeah, I
common
get that.
knowledge. This kind of goes into like another one that I have though, but it's when people are sick. Like, and they don't care about being sick. Like, I get people have jobs and stuff, and not everybody gets like sick pay, like whatever. But just having common courtesy to like cover your cough, or like, I mean, it just like really bothers me. I'm such a germ freak. Like, I hate germs. I think, ugh, I really don't like them. And whenever I see someone like cough into their hand and then like they'll touch a handle, I'm like, seriously, don't touch anything. Yeah, it just grosses me out, and it just drives me up the wall.
I think that can be really hard though when you are a germaphobe, and like I feel like I went through a phase in college where I was like so freaked out about germs because I was getting sick a lot and I was working at a preschool, which makes sense, you get sick a lot. But I was just like freaked out all the time. So I get that. It's one of those things where it's like even if you have to go out sick, just like cover your mouth or like bring hand sanitizer. Like if you see someone sneeze and at least like hand sanitize after, like okay, at least they like are trying to prevent it spreading to everybody else.
I feel like that's kind of like rude people though, like just in general. Like when you're being like that's just like a rude thing to do, like not cover your sneeze, and then I mean, and then you could go off on like how rude people just kind of are in general.
Rude people is definitely a pet peeve of mine. And I know when you're out, like not everybody's always having the best day, or, I know that there's a lot more going on, but I feel like one of the things I really try to do when I'm out, even when I am having a hard day, is like smile and like at least like, okay, this is like a simple one. It's like hold the door open is such a big thing to me. It's like being polite. And literally, it's actually funny. Last night I went to Chipotle and I was walking out and I was like focused and I didn't realize people were behind me, and I like let the door start to close and I literally ran back and I was like, I'm so sorry, and I like grabbed the door. They're like, it's fine. And I was like, yeah, but that just was like not nice of me that I just like walked down and I didn't look behind me. And like
Seriously.
it's just more to me, it's like makes you feel like people are being nice and polite when you're out. And I feel like when you're out and you're somewhere new, it can feel so intimidating when people are rude. And I think that's something that's really come from me traveling full time, is like being in new places all the time, like you notice where people are like nice and genuine and like really thoughtful, and then I've been places where people are just like not that nice, and it's really not a great feeling. It makes you not feel even when you're
It's so
smiling and
true.
happy.
It's really that's true. Um, so you said something. So you're talking about how people don't like hold the door open. This kind of made me just think. Have you ever been standing in an elevator doorway and then it shuts on you? Like it starts to close?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I hate it when the elevator door just like will start to close on you because I'm always so worried that like my dog, like Olive, will like somehow be caught in between that. That's why if I'm ever in an elevator, like I'll usually just like scurry her along or like just try to prevent her from stopping on her because I've seen videos where dogs get like stuck and their leash gets stuck in between the elevator door and then they're on the other side and the owners are on the other side and it's like that's like a huge fear of mine.
I actually saw a video like that recently. I think
It
my
yeah,
mom
was it
sent
with
it
the
to me.
Pomeranian? Was it
Yeah.
like the Pomer and the guy? Yes. That scared the crap out of me. I had so much anxiety watching that video. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is my nightmare." All right, well, let's move on from this topic because if we keep talking about it, I'm gonna freak out. um, would you say that you okay? Like we have like the normal pet peeves. I think like loud chewers. I hate loud chewers, but like, are there any of those like really like stereotypical pet peeves that you have when it comes to things that bother you?
I'm trying to think, like loud chores, I feel like if I'm on edge and then somebody does that, then I like it would be a pet peeve, but like I don't notice it every time. Does that make sense? Like it's more like if I'm already like uptight or like on
On
edge, then
edge.
I notice those things.
I feel like everything's always amplified even more when I'm already in like a bad mood. And so it's like it adds to it. But then also when I'm like on my period, it makes it so much worse too. Like Bryce will just walk in and he'll just be sitting on the couch and I can just like hear him breathing. And I'm like, can you breathe any louder? He's like,
Yeah.
what? And I'm like, just shh, shh, shh. You're so loud.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. I've definitely done that. It's so funny you were talking about like calling him out because one time I totally called you out when we were taking photos and you had no idea it was a pet peeve of mine and I honestly thought you were not gonna wear your socks like that, so I'll just say it. But Haley and I were about to take photos and she was wearing low shoes, low
I was wearing
Converse.
Vans. I was wearing the
Oh,
checkered
Vans.
Vans.
She
Yeah.
was wearing Vans and she was wearing normal socks and we were like about to
They're
take it.
black.
I'm like, what do you like? Why do you want to like take your socks off? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, your socks are showing, and it just looks weird. And she's like, I
I'm
was like,
such
oh,
a
sorry. That.
savage for wearing socks, apparently. So savage.
And then I
How dare
really
I?
realized how big of a pet peeve that was of mine. Like, I do not like when socks show like that. At least, like you were saying, like you were wearing black socks, so they're really noticeable. And
Oh,
you were
yeah.
saying that you hate when socks fall off, and I would rather have low cut socks that fall off than have socks that show.
I, I hate it when my sock falls in my shoe. It drives me up the wall, especially if I'm wearing like high tops or something like that, or Converse, like any type of shoe that's not exactly ideal to like just pull your sock on, like sock up, sock on. Any shoe that's not easy to put your sock on, like if you have to have laces or whatever, like, it drives me up the wall. I feel like I'm like walking with a lump on my foot. It's just ugh.
With high shoes, I wear high socks, but with low shoes, I always wear low socks because you can see them. But I get that. I do get the like when it's Converse and like it falls all the way down and then you have to unlace them. That's annoying.
I just realized I do the opposite. Why do I do that? I mean, I guess I do wear high socks when I have high tops on, like I do that. But I also know that I also wear short socks, and then I wear higher socks with shorter shoes. Why do I do that?
See,
That's so
just
weird.
I'm just helping you out. Don't worry. Now,
Oh
anytime
my
I
gosh.
accidentally like I my laundry was too full, so I only had high socks. I went to the gym and I sent Taylor a picture, and I was like, "This is so annoying." Now I just always
I now
notice it even more.
purposefully. Well, I'm gonna just wear them all the time, showing just for you. I'm so glad I was the one to like trigger your pet peeve and make you comprehend the fact that that bothered you. I'm so grateful that that was me.
The
I
fact that I
seriously
called
though,
you
but it's
out.
like, yeah, oh, straight up. And I was like, I thought you were joking at first. I was like, what? And then
And I
you're
didn't
like,
even
I was like, oh my gosh, you're being serious right now? I'm like, okay, I can do that. Like, whatever. But it was pretty bad. Granted, I wasn't actually planning. I was just like, I threw them on really quick because I think if you're wearing like white shoes and black socks and they're showing, that looks a little sketch. But I mean, in general, I wouldn't usually do that. But yeah, I do wear like, if I was wearing white shoes, I'd wear white socks so it blends easier. I overthink this, and people are like, wow, you spend way too much time investing in your socks like every day. I'm like, I do. I know. So, I mean, yeah, socks are one thing, but what really is like gross to me is when people lay in their bed with their outside clothes on. That
as I'm sitting in
grosses
my
me
bed.
out. Well, like I am too. I'm not sitting in my bed. Like okay, I'll give you an example. You come home from work or traveling or a
Traveling's
sports
gross.
game. Yes, is so gross to me. Like you were at work or you went out to dinner or something, like I don't know, but like yeah, each circumstance is different, but that is my haven. Like do not mess that up. Like it's like and I talk about this cuz Bryce was so like he when we first were married, he was like whatever. I was like, "Can you not lay in the bed with your outside clothes on?" And he because he'd be flying, he'd be like at flight school, and he'd come home, and then he just like lay down. And I'm like, you smell like an airplane, like an iron, like that irony metal smell because they're small planes. And I'm like, ew. Like go change please, that's gross. So and now he finally like that was like how many years ago, 6 years ago, jeez louise, that was a long time. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I hate it. And same with suitcases on a bed. I hate when suitcases like from traveling people pack their suitcase on a bed. I'm like, that
Yeah.
you don't know where that's been.
I'm like thinking about it. I'm like I've definitely done that when I'm traveling.
I've
But
done
like
all
more
of
when
these,
I'm
absolutely.
yeah, I don't even know if I think about like when I travel for sure. Like when I get off a plane, I feel so gross. But I'm trying to think, especially now living in an RV, I feel like our space is so tiny that we'll just like end up sitting on our bed or like right now I'm recording in bed. And I don't know if I think about it as much as I would if it we weren't in the RV, if that makes sense. Because it's just such a small space. We kind of just always end up like on the bed, and we might have been outside. But I guess
And
I've
see,
done
that
like
makes
that
sense to
more.
me. That makes
But yeah,
sense
it
when
does
1/3 of your
depend.
space is a bed. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
You're like, I want breakfast in bed.
Literally.
I could just
Lean
roll over
over
in the
the bed.
kitchen. Yeah, just lean over, grab the stuff. Like, okay. Did you ever do that growing up? Like, I don't know. I feel like this was a recent thing I've like come to terms with.
I honestly don't even remember if I did, but now I'm like really trying to think back into like what I did. But I feel like we spent so much time more on the couch and stuff. By the time you got to your room and you did that stuff, like you were in pajamas and stuff. It wasn't like I was spending time like hanging out in my bed.
Oh
So I
yeah.
feel
Well,
like
and that's the
I
thing
didn't do
too.
it.
Like when I walk in the door, I'm like, I want to change. That's like my first thing. Like, I like jeans. Don't get me wrong. Some people like hate wearing pants, and I don't mind them. I think my pants are comfortable, but I just like to change depending on where I've been, but especially traveling. Like, oh my gosh, ew.
I just looked over at our notes and all I see are butt
But
fries. So let's let Haley explain that one because I have no idea what that means.
I love this. Okay, I'm so hot. Butt fries are when you go to Chick-fil-A and then they give you the ones that have the skin on them. And they're like the end of the potato. I like chuck them out the window. I think they're disgusting. I'm like, I can taste the fertilizer. Like,
That
I
is definitely
hate
not what I
butt
thought.
fries. Yes, that is hilarious. Yeah, butt fries. I have a lot of food pet peeves. I could go off on like food items for sure.
I definitely have weird food things. Like I'm really weird with like I don't even know if that's a pet peeve though. Like how my eggs are cooked. I do not do omelets. Omelets are disgusting. I'm disgusting. Do not give me an omelet.
Really?
But
Wait,
like yeah,
why?
random. I don't know. Is that a pet peeve? But I do not like how they're cooked. Like I don't like
Is
the like
it like
texture.
rubbery to you?
Yeah.
I can understand
And
that.
people can say like, "Oh, it's the most amazing omelet." Like I don't care. It's disgusting.
Like, I do not give a crap. That is awful. That's how I feel with salmon. I've only had like maybe
Oh, me too.
3 or 4 salmons that I've ever had, and I think they're disgusting. I don't get it.
I like only raw salmon. I don't like cooked salmon. All right, we're getting on a food rant. I feel like I don't even know if these are pet peeves, but I feel like go on and on about
Ew.
food.
You said raw salmon, you savage. It's gross. Oh, I don't like it when people are like, "Oh, you don't like this? Oh, why?" Like, they don't respect the fact that like it's like I don't like it. Stop trying to force me to try it or like do it. Like, just let me be. Because I swear, so the reason why I have this thing that I will try. I like to try new stuff, like foods. I'll try to try something new at most restaurants I go to, like especially if I'm like traveling. But it depends on where I'm at and what I'm trying. So I was at a very nice restaurant in Hawaii with my family, and my dad told me he knows I don't like salmon, and so he says, "If you try this salmon, I will buy you a pair of Lululemon leggings." And I'm like, heck yeah. I'm not going to pass that up. And so I was like, he's like, "But you can't gag. You can't like spit it out, and you have to swallow the salmon." And I was like, oh, I have this really sensitive gag reflex. So I was like, this is going to be a challenge. And we're in the middle of a very nice restaurant. Like, we were all dressed up. It was like a brunch place. Like, I could not cause a scene. And so I did it. And then I threw it up in the middle of the restaurant. My whole family's busting up laughing. And I'm like, this is why we can't go to nice places, you guys, because you made me try foods that are disgusting. But my dad would felt bad, so he still got me the leggings. So I was like, yes. So yeah, that was a win for me. But I'm just like, ugh.
I feel like there's so many food ones that like everybody probably has in different ways. Maybe not. Maybe we're a little pickier with food, but I feel like that is definitely one that I could go on and on about. It'd be interesting to see if anybody has any of similar pet peeves to the ones that we have, because I know we have different pet peeves than each other too. So I'm definitely curious.
Bailey, do you drive?
I do.
I feel like I mean, I've seen you drive a couple times, but I'm like, do you like driving?
I do when I'm at home and I have my car, but I don't love it when it's like this big RV. I'll do it. I can do it, but I don't particularly love it.
I hate
And when it's
driving.
someone else's car, again, like I'll do it, but I definitely like my like comfort zone in my car.
Yeah, it's familiar. I hate driving, and I just feel like there's a lot of things that like I've never really been into driving. I was always pretty scared of driving even when I was learning how to drive, but I see so many people with road rage that scares the living crap out of me. But then I realize, am I part of that? Am I the road rage? Because I see people driving in the left lane. It drives me nuts. I'm like, get over. Stop riding in the left lane. That is a passing lane. And I hate when people also drive really loud, like they're like blasting their music or their engines and just like trying to be cool. It's like you're not cool at all. Can you
Loud
please
cars,
stop?
yeah. That drives me crazy. I agree. I feel like it's just always so startling too. Hudson and I were out on a walk and a car was so loud it literally freaked Hudson out. And he is not a skittish dog. Like he does not get scared easy. So it even scared me.
Really? That's so interesting. Olive is so skittish. Olive gets scared really easily, and so do I. But she also feeds off of me, I think, because she's scared of heights, and I'm scared of heights. But I'm like, how would you know? How would you know there's an 80-foot drop off right there? Seriously, like that's like, how do you even know? I don't get it. But it's really interesting how dogs can pick up off of our energies. What are dogs' pet peeves?
When I poke Hudson all the time, probably. I love to just like annoy him. So he's like used to people being like in his space.
I notice when dogs are annoyed, they'll yawn. I know like that can mean excitement too, but when they're annoyed, they also yawn. And I noticed that when like Olive is getting her nails done and stuff like that, she'll sometimes yawn, but I'm like, are you mad at me? Like this has to be done. Like Bryce will always be trimming her nails, but she hates having her nails done, I think.
Is that a thing? Because Hudson yawns all the time, but I also just think he's tired like all the time because he's a Frenchie. So I don't know if like
He's
I'd be able
so
to figure
mad
that
at you
out.
all the time.
Literally, probably half my pictures are of him yawning, but like he likes pictures. He usually just falls asleep after, so I think it's a tired yawn, not a I'm mad yawn.
We need to stop saying yawning because now I'm yawning.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, did you know yawns are contagious? Except
I
apparently
know they're
you're broken.
contagious. I know they're contagious if like you see somebody do it, but I didn't know if like you say the word yawn. Haley, stop trying to get me to yawn. It's not contagious.
Dang it. I will one day. I got Bryce to yawn, and it's so funny because I have like videos of it. I'm like, oh, and he's just, oh. Anyway, I digress. Pet peeves.
Another pet peeve of mine that has been a more recent one is since we've been living in the RV, we've had big water bottles, and Evan crushes them when he puts them in the trash, and the noise actually makes me so frustrated. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's just so loud that it's always like I jump or I'm like, it hurts my ears, and I'm just like, ugh. So like now he always goes like, cover your ears before he does it, which I'm so grateful he does that because it really just like irks me a little.
No, it's really funny that you say that because I feel the same way with cardboard. Like the sound of cardboard being like broken down, it does hurt your ears. It's really weird. It's like oh gosh, it like makes the inside of my ears itch. Bryce will give me a warning when he turns on the blender. Because the blender, like he'll just turn it on full speed and I'll start screaming. I'll just be like, ah! Just like plug my ears. Like it's so loud. I hate loud sounds. Like and thunderstorms. I hate thunderstorms.
I feel like before I wasn't as sensitive to loud sounds, but that plastic just like
Our first episodes that we did, that was like the Halloween one. We talked about like our fears and whatnot. And we both agreed that we hate the dark. And I don't know if that's a pet peeve, but I hate when people turn the lights out on me because I'll start screaming.
that's funny because Evan always turns the lights off before he gets in bed, and that's a pet peeve of mine for sure. It's like wait for me to get in bed
Yes.
before you turn the lights off because I can't see, and that just drives me crazy, and I don't like the dark.
Drop the mic. Yes, literally. I totally agree because Bryce does that to me all the time. I need to be mentally prepared for the lights to go off.
Yeah.
And like, otherwise, I will not. I'm like, no, I'm not ready. He'll be like, I need to turn the lights off. I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Anyway, totally. Yeah, I hate the dark and I hate when people turn the lights off on me. And what's really sad, this is actually kind of sad. So when I was like 7 years old, I had some friends that lived up the street from me and they were about 3 years older. So they were probably like 10, 11, maybe even 12. Anyway, they were so mean to me. Like I look back and I was like, wow, they were really big bullies. Like I had no idea, but I was so little, like I didn't even notice. But they would lock me in their bathroom in their basement and turn the lights out. And it was like a half done basement, so like they only had like the bathroom done, and then they'd leave me in there, and I couldn't figure out how to get the lights on because I was young, I couldn't figure it out, and so I just remember sitting in the locked bathroom crying. It's really sad.
That is That's so sad, and I can see how you probably have more of a fear of the dark because of that too.
It's like it's I'm like, that's so sad. But I'm like, maybe that's why I hate the dark, because it's true actually. Anytime Bryce like would turn off the light. Oh, the power went out on us last night, and I was like, do I need to go get the lanterns? Like it's just like they're in our closet, like ready to go. Because the power goes out here a lot. And so I'm like, that's unfortunate for having a huge fear of the dark.
Yeah, I agree with that one for sure. And I think it's more just like I'm okay if I turn the lights off and I'm like where I need to be. I just don't want to be out of my control. Yeah, that's a
Yes, it's
control
about the
thing.
control of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. If I'm not in control of it, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like a life thing, though. I mean, I heard anxiety is nothing more than the fear of losing control.
I've seen
Yeah,
that
kind
quote
of like
or
a
that
when,
saying.
yeah, yeah. It was like, wow, that's deep. Nailed it on the head, literally. I was like, wow, okay.
Okay, I have a funny one, and when Evan hears this one, he's gonna laugh because
Oh
it
gosh.
drives me crazy when I'm watching a show and somebody asks me questions because I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm the biggest. I ask like a million questions during a movie, so like it's fine when I do it, but when someone else does it,
I literally always have to pause it. I have a hard time going to the movie theater because, like, especially during intense scenes, I always have to pause it. And I'm like, especially if I want to add commentary. Like, who is that? I don't know. I haven't seen this movie. Just keep watching. What are they doing? Why are they there? Why are they doing that? I don't know.
literally, I do that. But then like when I'm focused and somebody asks me, it's like, wait, now we gotta rewind because I don't know what happened.
Oh my gosh, there's like a whole reel out there I saw a while ago that was this married couple, and it was literally a scenario just like this. And she was like, "I'm bored. Let's snuggle. Why aren't you paying attention to me? What's happening? Oh, this is a stupid movie." It's just like it's like, oh my gosh, why is this me? Like, oh, that's a really good one though. It's a really good one. Oh, I hate it when TV shows like will end on a cliffhanger and then they don't get renewed.
Oh yeah, that's annoying.
I feel like I'm like a hangnail. Like I'm just like it's just like what? It's not like I need to. Like it needs to be finished. Like that happened with My Name Is Earl, with Dallas, with the show The Royals. Like there are so many shows that just end because they don't get renewed, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And I'm like, can someone just like write the end of the storyline at least, so that way I can have this part of my life like closed? Like, can I have closure, please?
You get so invested. It's hard not to want that.
Oh yeah, it's so true. I actually heard, speaking of getting invested, that a lot of celebrities' pet peeves are when they like are associated to their character that they play. Like villains are often treated poorly by the public because people interpret that they're that actor, that the character is also the actor, and so they have a really hard time with that. Like we see we see that with Miley Cyrus. Like, she talks about how people treated her as Hannah Montana, and she's like, "I'm not Hannah Montana. That is not who I am." In Schitt's Creek with Alexis, she was really worried that she was going to be just like forever known and categorized as the little rich girl who's kind of ditzy. And I mean, it's a great show, but she really wanted, so she went polar opposite to a different show to kind of show her character diversity in acting. And that's really interesting because sometimes your roles and characters I think people would play are just so famous and like you just can't step away from that. Like I think Miley Cyrus will forever be known as Hannah Montana. Like that's just like how it is. It's unfortunate because they with the circumstances they're facing, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is super interesting. I could totally see that because I feel like even when you get like super invested in a character and then they go to another movie or a show, it's really hard to not think of them the way you already know them from a show that
Yeah,
maybe you're really
I totally
invested in.
agree. I totally agree. I haven't really watched a ton of shows. I like reality shows,
You
so I
just
guess
named
that's not
like
hard.
5 shows I've never heard of.
What?
You never
You never
watched?
heard
I
of like
never.
Schitt's Creek?
Oh, I've heard of it, but I couldn't get Evan past like episode 3.
It's dry humor. That's yeah. I don't feel like
But
you
that
would.
should be a me thing, not a him thing. I don't get dry humor.
Oh yeah. I honestly, the first time I watched Schitt's Creek, it never, it didn't stick, and then I kept pushing through. But I never understood when people are like, it gets better. You have to push through. Like, I was like, why can't I just like it? Like,
I
why
feel like
can't
that's
I? Like,
every
people say,
show almost. I feel like every show
yeah, I'm
it's
like,
like
they have to
3 or
set up the
4 in.
groundwork. I feel like that's my personality. Like, right off the bat, I can be either I'm really introverted when you first meet me, and then when you really get to know me, I'm like, I get way better.
I get way better. Just you wait.
Just you wait. I'm like so fun. I'm the best. No. Pet peeves.
Let's go back to those things.
Zit popping videos are disgusting. I hate those, and my family loves to watch them, and I hate zit popping. It's gross to me. I do not
So
like
satisfying. So satisfying.
it. You're like, I love it. I'm like, no. I mean, when it's on like my own face, like I'm not bothered, like whatever. But I'm not filming it for people to watch. It is what it is. But like who's that Dr. Pimple Popper?
Yeah.
She has like massive boils. Ugh. Ow. Ew. No. Gross.
I used to watch
Can't
it
do
more
it.
than I do now. I don't really watch them now, but it doesn't
Did you watch
bug me
those?
either. Yeah.
Do you get grossed out easily?
No.
Is that because you worked with kids?
Probably. You like my one
Because
answer?
yes. I get grossed out so easily. I mean,
Yeah, I don't get
I
it.
remember Bryce got a bloody nose on a road trip and I was gagging.
Yeah.
I gag at my own tears sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's where we're opposite for sure. I feel like I don't get grossed out that easily. Very rarely I get grossed out, I feel like actually. I'm pretty but like throw up grosses me out. But not dog
That
throw
wouldn't
up.
make sense
That's
to me
fine,
though.
whatever.
That's a pretty I think
It's
that
more
I get. I'm not
it's more like am I gonna get sick? Like that's where my brain goes.
I agree. Another pet peeve is people who think they're full of themselves. Like I
Candy's
really
on a
have a
roll.
hard time. I am. I told you. It's because you know what? It's probably because I'm the youngest of 4. You know, we have that only child thing, so you really didn't have to worry about getting bugged all the time. Not to say that my siblings bugged me, but boy, yeah, they bugged me. Like I just like when people are just like full of themselves and think they're they're like God's gift to the planet. Like, okay, no. Like it's like there's a balance with it. Like everyone has talents, but like people who are full of themselves, cocky and just like condescending, I really have a hard time with that.
I totally agree with you on that one. I feel like that's something that's so hard for me and I just don't really understand how people can be like that, but I guess it's just part of some people's personalities.
I wonder if they're like aware of it too. That's what I'm wondering. Like, do they know they're being like that, or do they genuinely believe that? I'm just coming up with all these pet peeves now. I have another one because I'm wearing white pants, and I'm like, I saw a stain on it, and I'm like, gosh dang it! I haven't even left my house.
Anytime I wear white pants, they get immediately dirty, especially because of Hudson. Like I pick them up and I do this, and they actually wash pretty easy for a little while. Then it's like I feel like every year it's like you got to throw your white pants away. Unfortunately, they're kind of like done if you wear them a lot.
I just bought these, and there's
No, I
like
know. They'll probably wash out. Mine get stains all the time, and they wash out.
I'm dying to know, clubbers, what your pet peeves are. Let us know. Put them in the comments below. Are some of the ones we've said a pet peeve of yours, or is it something you do and it doesn't bug you? I'd love to know that. No judgment. I don't care. Like whatever. It is what it is. And my list could keep going. Obviously, I have some issues to work through. So I'm just like
We all have pet peeves.
Yes, we all have pet peeves. I think that's pretty normal human nature.